Good morning. I'm Kenyon McDuffie, at-large council member and chair of the Council's Committee on Business and Economic Development. Today is Tuesday, November 28th, 2023, and we're convening this additional meeting of the committee in person in room 120 and via Zoom. We're also streaming live on YouTube and on the council's website. The time is 1:42 a.m., 1:42 a.m. and I'm calling to order this additional, I say 1:42 a.m., 1:42 p.m. I think I got it right the first time. The time is 1:42 p.m. and I'm calling to order this additional meeting of the committee. For the record, I'd like to note that we have a quorum, which consists of myself, Ward 2 Council Member Brooke Pinto, Ward 6 Council Member Charles Allen, and Ward 7 Council Member Vincent Gray. Today, the committee will consider and vote on two measures, Bill 25-136, the Golden Triangle Business Improvement District Amendment Act of 2023, and Bill 25-149, the Friendship Heights Business Improvement District Amendment Act of 2023. Councilmember Brooke Pinto and I introduced Bill 25-136 on February 13th, 2023, and it was referred to the committee on February 21st. The committee held a public hearing on June 8th, 2023. Bill 25-136 amends the Business Improvement Districts Act of 1996 to authorize the establishment of revised tax rates of assessment for property owners and for certain residential units within the Golden Triangle bid. As its 5-year charter is renewed and the Golden Triangle bid requested a change to its tax rate from 17 cents per net rentable square foot to 19 cents for improved Class 2 and Class 3 property, excluding hotels, and an increase to 16 cents per net rentable square foot for hotels from 14.5 cents. Non-exempt Class 1 residential properties will be taxed at $163 per unit per year, up to $120. The committee received testimony detailing the bid's important work during the last 5 years and explaining that the proposed increases are necessary to keep up with inflation and to fund the additional work the bid is engaged in to redevelop downtown. I appreciate the leadership of Leona Garitas, who has led the bid through the challenging years of the pandemic and continues to provide vision and direction as the district works to revitalize downtown for the post-pandemic world. The committee print makes a couple of changes to the introduced version of the bill. First, it removes the provision in the introduced bill authorizing annual increases to the tax rates of up to 3%. This provision was duplicative of an existing provision in the code and therefore unnecessary. Second, the committee print added some clarifying language of how the bid tax would apply for income restricted affordable housing units, including requiring the bid to identify and certify such units. These changes are consistent with the emergency and temporary versions of this legislation passed earlier this summer. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Pinto.
Thank you so much, Chairman McDuffie, to you and your team for moving this bill today so that our Golden Triangle Business Improvement District can continue its really impactful work. I think our Golden Triangle bid, along with all of our bids in our city, work tirelessly to innovate and respond to the changing needs of its neighborhoods and the fluctuating economy, especially in recent years. The Golden Triangle bid has been supporting Golden Triangle businesses and the community at large for 25 years. And over the last 3 years, the bid has led this community through the pandemic, navigating the many challenges its businesses and community members faced and advancing thoughtful and creative solutions. And this is particularly important in this neighborhood that was so overly reliant on an office market, on the business community with very few residents. Under Leona Agarides' leadership, the bid has been and continues to be at the forefront of helping to reimagine our downtown in DC. And this legislation, approved and supported by the Golden Triangle bid and its membership, will ensure that they have adequate funding for their programming and continued economic recovery. So I want to thank you again, Mr. Chairman, and look forward to supporting this today.
Thank you, Councilmember Pinto. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I move the draft committee report in print with leave for staff to make technical, editorial, and conforming changes. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it unanimously of the members present voting. The measure is approved. The next bill is Bill 25-149, the Friendship Heights Business Improvement District Amendment Act of 2023. This bill was introduced on February 23rd, 2023 by Ward 3 Councilmember Matt Fruman. The chairman referred the bill to the Committee on Business and Economic Development on March 7th of this year, and the committee held a public hearing on the bill on June 8th, 2023. Bill 25-149 would permanently establish a new Friendship Heights Business Improvement District to operate in conjunction with the neighboring Friendship Heights Urban District recently created by Montgomery County, Maryland. The bill establishes a tax rate of 16.5 cents for each net rentable square foot for Class 2 properties, excluding hotels. Hotels will be taxed at $120 per room annually. Non-exempt Class 1 residential properties with 5 or more residential units would also be taxed at $120 per unit. After receiving feedback from stakeholders and the Office of the Chief Financial Officer, the committee print made changes. First, amending that affordable housing units at 100% AMI or less are exempt from the bid tax. And second, clarifying that the bid would be responsible for identifying and certifying such affordable housing units. These changes are consistent with the emergency and temporary legislation passed by the council earlier this year. Is there any discussion? I do want to, before we actually get to a vote, note that the Council's Office of Racial Equity released a racial equity impact analysis of this bill following the committee's hearing on in June, that the bill, and I'm quoting here, Bill 25-149 will likely exacerbate racial inequity in the District of Columbia, close quotes. Now, the RIA reached this conclusion despite acknowledging that the Friendship Heights bid would not uniquely worsen racial inequity in the district, but because it would expand the bid system that, in its opinion, has contributed to the displacement of Black residents, does not offer Black residents and other residents of color equal opportunities to represent their interests, and primarily serves the interests of wealthier white residents at the expense of Black other residents of color, among other things. As chair of this committee on business and economic development, as a native Washingtonian who cares deeply about equity and opportunity for Black and other district residents of color, the tensions between economic growth and equity are often on my mind. And I know that I've talked to my colleagues on the committee quite frequently about these issues, and I know it's on their minds as well. And while I disagree with some of the conclusions of the RIA, I believe that these overarching concerns about the bid system, including how we can make it operate more equitably for the benefit of Black residents and residents of color, deserve a separate conversation that's not centered around the Friendship Heights bid or any other particular bid for that matter. And therefore, the committee intends to introduce separate legislation addressing the concerns raised about the composition of the board of directors for each of the bids. And we're having ongoing conversations with the bids and individuals in the community who care about this issue. Is there any discussion before we move to a vote? Hearing none, I move that the draft committee report in print. I move the draft committee report in print with leave for staff to make technical, editorial, and conforming changes. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it unanimously of the members present and voting, and the measure is approved. This concludes the additional meeting of the committee. The time is now 1:50 p.m. and this meeting is adjourned. Thanks.